All right, gang, let's get going. So the purpose of this workshop is to help you, number one, learn to give yourself permission to make some time for self-care. And number two, figure out how to carve out that time in the nooks and crannies of your days and your weeks. Because sometimes we need to be told it's okay. And we also need some fresh ideas, or some reminders of great ideas of how to actually make it happen. So we don't just talk about how much we need it all the time. So this is fun. And I'm going to record, this is being recorded right now. I'm going to share it. So if you have somebody on your heart right now that should be here, but they can't because they're busy or they don't have time, please just ask the person who invited you to share the link with you afterwards, and we'll get that to them so that everybody who needs to see it can see it in their own time. But congrats on being here, because if you can do 30 minutes, give yourself 30 minutes to think about self-care, then that's a big, huge leap for actually making it happen once you've kind of learned some tricks and tips. So number one, I want to introduce my friend Jenny. Jenny's in North Carolina, and she's amazing. And she is going to share something that was a good light bulb moment for me on how to watch for the signs and signals that you need more care time in your life. So Jenny, do you want to share that real quick?
I'd love to. Thank you, Heather. And thank you guys for all joining us today. And I hope that you're able to take something away from it, and maybe something will spark in you that will help you realize your own self-care and what you need. But before we start talking about self-care and what that looks like for each individual, because for each individual, it's obviously going to be an individual process, but there are definite signs and signals that you maybe have neglected your self-care, or that your own personal needs are not being met. And so I'm going to share with you some of these signals. The first one could be anger, resentment, or jealousy, lashing out at others. These are some negative emotions in the anger category that may be a good sign that your own needs are not being met, and that you are concentrating on all the needs of other people in your life. So anger, resentment, jealousy, lashing out at people, fatigue, burnout, or just finding yourself taking on too much responsibility. If you're signing up for this or that, or taking on too much work because you're not realizing that maybe other people can step in and help, that is often another sign, especially for you folks that work. Taking on too much responsibility may be a really good indication that you are not taking care of yourself. Low-level depression, lack of motivation. Again, if it's more intense than that, you would obviously want to see a doctor, but maybe a low level of depression or lack of motivation. Just feeling If somebody asks you, how are you doing today? And your answer is that could be a good sign that you're not meeting your own needs. And then frequent sicknesses or illnesses, definitely tied to not taking care of ourselves. And then there is also a written signal. If you have a calendar or an iPhone calendar, if you do not see yourself on that calendar, that is a big indicator that you're not taking care of yourself. If you are a mama and you have all your kids' appointments and all their play dates and all their dates, or your husband or your spouse or your parents or whoever you're helping take care of, if you see their name on your calendar and you do not have written proof that you are on your calendar, that's a really good indicator that you are not taking time for yourself. So just watch out for some of those signals. You may have just had an aha moment. I don't know. But I'm going to pass it back to Heather now, and she's going to take it from there.
Hey, yeah. Awesome, Jenny. Really good to just do a quick self-assessment. Open up your calendar. You can do that as soon as we're done here, and look for yourself. It's really, really, really important. Okay, so we're gonna run through a list. Here is how it goes, and you don't have to write this stuff down. Don't worry, guys. You're here to relax. But there are 7 big tips that we're gonna share, and we're gonna run through them pretty quick. So again, take some notes if you want, or just soak it in. Number 1 is how to create a mindful minute in your day. Number 2, Sunday planning, how to sit down and put the rocks in your schedule for your priorities. Number 3, how in the world to schedule me time. And 4, how to teach your kids about self-care, just the value in that if you do have kiddos or grandkids that you take care of, or even maybe an older parent that you take care of, how to make sure that you teach them, hey, this is important to me. Next one, how to take 2 minutes at bedtime to journal your wins and the power of that. The next one is using a timer for power sessions so we can be productive and get the important stuff done and then leave more time for ourselves. And then the last one is how to conduct a time audit and really figure out where the heck all your time is going. If you're feeling overwhelmed or feeling frazzled or angry, fatigued, like Jenny said, like where in the world is this, where's the time going? Why is this happening? So, anywho, let's get going on that. Michelle, you want to run us through real quick your top tips for how to plan your week so priorities are in order?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. So, I am going to be talking about planning your Sunday. And so I have 10 tips here. It's a lot. So just kind of go with me. And I tried to hit the busy mama, I tried to hit the retirement person and the working mom. So, anyway, I hope I kind of caught everybody here. So, let's talk about our Sunday. So, for instance, I want you just to think about 3 things that you would like to accomplish for the upcoming week. Okay, what is something for yourself that you would like to accomplish? And kind of mentally put that in your head because that's something that you would do for me time. Okay, but you and so where does your priorities go? What takes up your time? And so kind of having an ideal of what happens with your, Sunday planning for the week, we're going to kind of take a look at some of that stuff. So setting your goals. And some of those things that you may want to accomplish, maybe you want to read a book. Maybe you want to take a bubble bath. Maybe you want to have a lunch date with a friend, or date your husband. Who knows? But I just want you to kind of have some of those thoughts in your head that might be something that you would like to do for the week. I want you to make a list of everything that you need to kind of do. I mean, not crazy stuff, but I'm talking about a list of things that needs to get done for the week. And then take time to prioritize and utilize the urgency that it has to get done. For instance, if you've got, your kids have homework. And so whenever they get home, that's going to be a time allotted to get their homework done and to make things go a lot smoother for the rest of the evening. And so you may have to prioritize some things earlier in the day that need to get done before the kids get home. So just kind of make a list of some different things that you need to get done for the week. Laundry, meal prepping, pay the bills, run a few errands. Those things need to be on your to-do list. So how do you plan your time? Decide, decide what, let's see here, how do I put this? For example, you want to set your morning time. Well, hold on, let me back up. Let's talk about your energy for a second. So if you have a job that you're wanting to do, and let's say one of the things is you want to get the closet cleaned out, okay? You're not going to plan to do a closet in the evenings. Okay. My husband would die if I were to start at 5 o'clock in the afternoon to clean out my closet. He wouldn't have a bed to sleep in. Okay. So I would say that, that would be something I would start in the morning, and I might make phone calls or different things later in the evening so it doesn't take as much energy. So utilize your energy well that coordinates with the activity that you need to do. Okay. Also, watch for your deadlines, doctor's appointments, hair appointments, things like that that you want to make sure that you schedule into your week. Okay, those are things that need to take priority as well. And think about balancing your fun and relaxation. Make sure it's included, because a lot of times we as mamas put ourselves on the back burner and we don't make time for ourselves or sometimes the fun time to do with our families. And so that needs to sometimes be scheduled in, but also be flexible. Some things may not happen, and opportunities or different situations may pop up that were unexpected. And be able to know that you can pivot and shift priorities to different days or different times, and don't be hard on yourself with different things if it did not get accomplished. And another thing to think about, we are not superwomen here, okay? So it is okay to share the load with others, okay? With that being said, your kids can set the table, your kids can clear the table, your husband, he could maybe do some laundry. So just know that it's okay to share the load with others. Now, they may not do it exactly the way you would do it, but it's okay. Just try not to have higher expectations. That's not necessary, okay? And learn from your week. Assess it. What were you able to accomplish this past week that you know you need to do for the next week? What went well? What didn't go well? And give yourself grace to move forward in the upcoming weeks. And it's all about planning, guys, and just helping yourself put it on paper and putting it into action. And that's all I got for that right now, Heather.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, so Julie, give us some things we can do in just 15 minutes that can help us relax or help us to get energized wherever we want to be. What are your best, like, quickie, bite-sized self-care blocks?
Okay. Thank you, Heather. My name's Julie. I live in Alabama, and I have two daughters, 10 and 7. And so me time, I've really spent the last probably year reflecting on, a lot of self-reflection of how because I have I'm caring for my mom sometimes. She has a lot of doctor's visits. I have a husband, the two girls, they have sports or whatever. So I really spent a lot of time reflecting on this in the last year. And what I try to do is not overthink it. Really keep it simple. Self-care doesn't have to be this long, elaborate 2-hour, spa treatment thing. It can be very simple. And once you wrap your brain around that, it really makes compartmentalize that in your to feel okay with adding self-care to your day. So, and what we were talking about earlier, scheduling, that is the key word. Putting yourself on your calendar. I have my calendar. I'm a paper pencil person. So I have my calendar, and in your calendar, a great tip is it doesn't have to be full. You can have blank spaces in your calendar, because a lot of times having too much on your calendar can cause that stress. So it's okay to say no. Saying no is really part of self-care. Take a 15-minute walk outside, preferably if you can, or a 10-minute walk. Doesn't have to be, get up from your desk, make an appointment, make a break with say, okay, I'm taking a break, even if you don't have a break time at work or home or whatever. Say, okay, it's break time. Eat a healthy snack, take a walk outside, play with your pet, go throw the cat, or, spend some time with them. And that kind of just takes the pressure off of your day to day. You're just having fun. We forget how to have fun a lot of times when we get older. Meditate for 5 minutes. Doodle or color. I know my daughters love to color, and sometimes I forget I like to color. It's very relaxing. The other day, Sarah was working on something, my 7-year-old, and I was like, hey, I want to color, something. So I got some color pencils and I did that. So it's really not, it doesn't have to be extensive, the me time. It doesn't have to be, like I said, over 15 minutes, really. Declutter a space, but writing it down in your calendar too will help, like scheduling in. Okay. So I started working with a trainer about a year ago, And so twice a week I go see my trainer for 45 minutes, and that's a rock in my schedule. I don't break it because I have a commitment to her. I have a commitment to myself. And I can see a huge change in my mental health just from working out, making that time for myself. So anyway, keep it simple. Write things down, keep it on your calendar. And that's about it for me time.
Thanks, Julie. That's awesome. That's perfect. And actually, so Jenny, that she gave us the perfect lead in. Will you share a couple of ways that we can kind of teach our kids about self-care? Some simple things, maybe for self-care that we could actually do with our kids or just model for our kids. What do you think?
Yeah, Heather, I was going to say, for sure, modeling it is going to be the best way that your kids are going to learn when they see you taking care of yourself. And that looks like going to bed at a regular time, eating regular meals, stop eating off of their plate and or grabbing something on the way. So in modeling healthy habits for them is going to be the best way to do that. Start early, start teaching them early what it's like to take care of themselves. And if you don't have littles, maybe you have a daughter who has littles. And if you can see in your children, if they're not taking care of themselves, help them do that. It's never too late, but we can always start super early. And I think if you do have littles, checking in with them often so that they learn to check in with themselves. How am I feeling? So, I mean, if we can ask them, tell me how you're feeling. Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling that you're hungry or that you need to take a break? Check in with them often so that they will learn to check in with themselves. That's going to be a great skill that they can gain as they get older. Offering them breaks. We need breaks. We cannot keep pushing our kids and pushing and pushing. They need brain breaks. They need body breaks, just like we do. They need rest. They are not endless amounts of energy. Even though they may appear to be, they are not. And they need to reset and refresh too. And we often don't teach our kids that. Often we keep pushing and pushing to wear them out. That may not be the best way, and it may not be the best thing for them, and they may not then learn to slow down later on in life. So remembering all these skills as an adult, going back, teaching them early, modeling it, and what they may do for rest and relaxation is probably not going to be what we do for rest and relaxation. We are probably not, it's probably going to look nothing like what we think would be rest or relaxation, but whatever it is for them, allow them that opportunity, give them those breaks and teach them to check in with themselves.
Jenny, that's so funny. And I have a related story. So last night it's bedtime and my 11-year-old's like, dilly-dallying. I'm like, what are you doing? It's bedtime. You got to go to bed. She's like, hold on. And she's looking at the phone. And I'm like, get the phone down. You're not supposed to be looking at the phone at bedtime. What are you doing? And she was like, but listen, mommy, I've got this challenge I'm doing. And it's a stretching challenge. And I don't know, she's got like 20 days or something. She's going to complete this little 5-minute stretching routine. And she was like, I haven't done it today and I have to get it done before bed. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's too late. You should have prioritized that. You should have done that earlier if it was important. So we almost get in an argument. And she looks at me and says, if you would just get down here and do the stretching with me, you might not be so grumpy. Zing. I was like, okay. Well, all right. Finish your stretching. And I go and take a deep breath while I wait for her to finish. And, I mean, obviously she's learning, but I was like, okay, this is what we want. We want our kids to learn how to consistently create self-care time, and honor it. And then also learn how to prioritize. So that's the next part of her, our goal with my child is like, okay, let's not do this at the very last minute of the day when your mother is telling you to go to bed on school night. But it was really good because it reminded me like, oh, okay, like she sees the power in creating that little bit of time for herself to work on a personal goal. Means nothing to anybody but her. But she like blocked that little bit of time and like really it mattered, you know, and she could see in me that maybe if I had given myself that little bit of self-care time, maybe I would be happier in that moment and not so grumpy. So anyway, I just had to share that because it just happened last night. All right. So another thing that's helpful is bedtime wins. How to wrap up your day with positivity. Julie, tell us about quick tips about gratitude at bedtime. Power in that.
Okay. Me again. Okay, so bedtime. This is something I've also been working on too, because bedtime is chaotic with kids. There's always those last minute things, like you were saying, Heather, that they pop at you. But really protecting that space at bedtime is so important. Getting a routine. If you don't have a routine already, really making that such a priority will help just end your day great, and then also start your morning off great. So in that me time, if one of your tasks is to declutter, maybe take that time and declutter your nightstand. That's one of the things that I try to keep, clean in my bedroom is my nightstand. Sometimes it doesn't happen. The girls will, collect things there, but keep a journal or a notebook where you can write down it. And this, again, you don't have to overthink this. Take 2 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes every evening after you get the kids to bed, when you're sitting there, instead of, trade it out for your cell phone. We all have our cell phones, right at our fingertips all day long. We really don't need it at bedtime. And so taking that time away from the screen, writing down, start small, keep a journal on your nightstand, write a couple of wins for the day. What are some things that you're proud of yourself for accomplishing? Or it can be just little tiny things, like you did go for that 15-minute walk, or you did say no to that donut, or you drank more water than you usually do, or you didn't buy $6 coffee and you drank coffee at home, something like that, just something easy and simple, and that we disregard throughout the day, but are huge in the end. And so those are just a couple of tips. And then having a warm cup of tea. One thing I have really started doing the last year is washing my face every night, because I wear a lot of eye makeup. And so I have prioritized that. That is kind of my time to wash my face off every day, even if I don't get a bubble bath. Sometimes I get a bubble bath at night, but if I don't, I wash my face. I have a little routine that I do, nothing extravagant, nothing expensive, just that's my time where I sit, I reflect in the mirror, I wash away the day, and I've consistently done that, and my skin's improved. So it's a win-win.
That's great. The theme of this whole thing is consistency, right? You may not have every day like all the self-care, but if you consistently take little bite-sized moments of self-care, boom, changes everything. Okay, so I know we're almost out of time, but a couple more things real quick. Something that I have had to do to create bigger windows of self-care for me is to schedule power sessions for those yucky, annoying activities that are like a pain in the butt, maybe uncomfortable, maybe hard work, like cleaning or, returning phone calls or scheduling appointments. I don't like to do that stuff. And so I procrastinate it. And when I procrastinate it, I get this weird, like mental, like guilt stuff that I carry around with me. And it's like, this thing I have to do might only take me 15 or 30 minutes, but like in my head, it's taken up like hours and hours. So here's a tip. You can really pare down the amount of mental space you're taking up on those yucky tasks by scheduling power sessions. So I open up my calendar, and I'm not paper like Julie, but I open up my Google Calendar, my phone. I'm like, oh, I gotta do the thing. And so I find a block of time and I put it in there. And I'm like, okay, tomorrow, if I want to have an hour to read at night, or if I want to have 20 minutes to get a workout in, like, let's go ahead and get that hard thing that I feel like is going to take all morning. Let's get it on the books so I can like see like realistically, what's that going to take? And so I schedule this power session, and I can see it on my calendar, and I can get it done, and I can hack away at it during that specific window instead of like letting my brain like drag it over the day. So open your calendar. I challenge you guys all to do this at the end, and pull that thing, you know what it is, like that thing. You're like, oh, like you gotta just eat that frog. Pull it out of your head, put it on paper or put it on your digital calendar. Schedule it. You can do it. You'll get it done. And then if you want to, reward yourself with a power session of self-care. Block off your, set a timer even. There's apps for that. I just learned about a new one the other day. I'll share it in our event page because I can't remember the name. It's Toggle something where you can like task out, a time block. It's like a little just stopwatch basically. And you can put in time to like, okay, I've done my 15 minutes of returning phone calls and scheduling and doing things I don't want to do. And now I get 15 minutes to go and just walk around the block, or I get 15 minutes to scroll Facebook, or I'm going to give myself 15 minutes to like, just go and like lay down and close my eyes and meditate and breathe for a minute, or, watch a show or catch up on a book, read a couple chapters of a fun book. So I schedule those. I have power sessions for different things throughout my week, and it really is effective. And it really does let you have like a realistic look at your calendar and how much time it takes to do things. And I know, shoot, Michelle, we're about out of time. We can hit on the time audit like super fast if you would like. And then we'll just like have 2 minutes for Q&A. So go ahead, Michelle.
Okay. So I want y'all to know that I have got a little PDF here, and the person who invited you to this, they can get this to you. Okay. So really quickly, this just has just a couple of things, but it's got a place where you can audit your time. And so what I want you to do is for like today and maybe tomorrow, where is your time going? So if you get up in the morning and you do a devotion time, you would write that in. 15 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever it takes for your devotion time, feeding your animals, taking the kids to school. You write everything down that you've done, even whenever you eat, you're drinking, you're doing laundry, cleaning up the house, you went for a walk, you jot everything down. If you're scrolling Facebook, you write it down and see how long it took you. Because a lot of times that's where we used to have a lot of time suck at, to be honest with you. Oh, Lord, I said suck. But anyway, with that being said, I can think that it's 5 minutes and it's been 30. And so it is a scroll hole. Okay. So with that being said, just know that that can really take a lot of your time. Another thing, give yourself grace. Because that is the biggest thing here. During the process of you writing this stuff, there's no judgment on you. Okay. You need to realize where your time is going. And this exercise is so valuable because once you start seeing what you're doing, you're able to pinpoint and kind of really channel in some extra time for some other quality time that you want to be utilizing your time for. And I think that that's all I'm going to say on that, but just know that the PDF it's got a lot of great stuff on there that can help you outline your day. And that's what I'm going to stop there, Heather.
Michelle, thank you, thank you, thank you. So here's your homework. I want to wrap up. That's amazing. Thank you for giving us that tool. I love that, just sitting down, pen to paper, and working through that stuff, figuring out where the heck our time is going. And here's your homework. I'm going to give you 3 questions to think about. I'll stay on. A couple of us will stay on for a few minutes if y'all want to chat about this. But number 1, is it easy or hard to make time for self-care? Just ask yourself that, do a little test. Is it easy or hard? You all can answer in the chat if you want. Number 2, do I think self-care would improve my health? Ask yourself that. Number 3, what's your favorite way to treat yourself? Make a list, make a catalog, make a menu of self-care items that you can pull from any day that you need to. Maybe some little quick bite-sized ones, and maybe some like deluxe fine dining ones, that maybe like a spa treatment or, go on a hike or whatever. But find a little, some little quick ones that you can write down and some big ones that you can write down so you can have those ready when you're doing your Sunday planning or scheduling for your week. You can have some things to pull from. So that's your homework, to answer those 3 questions for yourself. And I would love if you would just share this with someone, the recording here, with someone that you care about. That would be amazing. Pay it forward, please. And second thing is, the person who invited you, give them your best aha moment from this Zoom. let them know like this was really helpful, or hey, I could actually use that. That would be amazing. And I just thank you guys so much for joining us today. And I really wish you a healthy, happy weekend. And congrats on giving yourself this time. And we'll stay on for just a couple if you want to chat. And otherwise, have an amazing weekend. Thank you.